Hello traders, welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 304. Iliya here as always. You know what we're gonna do, have a look at the markets, how they developed this week, what setups we had, and most importantly draw some forecasts for the incoming week. So without further ado, let's have a look at the news and then check the markets. Well, right now with this government shutdown, it doesn't make a lot of sense to be checking the economic calendar, especially for USD news. But anyway, we're having a bank holiday on Monday, so definitely not gonna be trading. Tuesday, we have some GBP, some Euro, and a speech from Powell, so that can definitely be very nice to be trading on Tuesday. Wednesday, this manufacturing index is actually scheduled, so maybe can bring in some volume, then a speech from Aussie dollar. Thursday, it looks like a pretty big day, so we have again AUD news, GBP, GDP here we're having, and yeah, then we're having pretty much all of these amazing USD news. However, all of them are tentative, so yeah. Probably again nothing, and then on Friday we have nothing, and then we have Saturday here some speeches. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, currently we have a lot more important things going on. Trump on Friday imposing again 100% tariffs on China because they did some things with their rare earth materials, doing tariffs from their side. Like, I mean, it's way too complicated. What is important for me is that the market is moving. The market is moving right now, so nothing that much to be worried about from the economic calendar. I guess right now it's more important to be monitoring your news outlets and then to potentially be very quick to react to whatever kind of news release we get. So without further ado, let's just go to the charts. Fanatics, I spent 1.5 months putting together the Fanatic Bootcamp that is designed to help you exit the break-even stage with just 2 simple tools and 6 hours of content. Now, if you have been loving how I analyze the market in the weekly outlook, if you have been loving how I trade and how I think about the market, this is really going to show you everything that I do for an extremely small price. So we're going to be working on your mindset first, fixing your mindset, your limiting beliefs, and exiting your emotional cycles. Then I'm going to be giving you the 2 tools that I use, only 2 tools, so you're going to actually know what I'm doing in these weekly outlooks. And then of course, I'm going to give you the process and the mechanics for it so you can actually build it into a trading plan. So if you're interested, first link in the description, click on it, and I'm going to see you on the other side. Alrighty, as always, we're going to get started with the Dixie. Now, you know that I do a little bit of a reverse engineering of the market. So I go to quickly check out my latest forecast, and then of course we bring it together to a new one. So yeah, last week was pretty chopped up here. We kind of ended up the week very mixed up. So we had a daily bullish, we had a daily bearish, we had a hourly bullish, and we had a hourly bearish. And then of course the key question was, okay, who is going to take control? Because we never know, right? We never know. And if you think you're gonna know, well, you're still pretty new to trading, right? But again, I gave very specific outcomes here because these are kind of the 2 major swing points that we needed to see break. And yeah, what did the market do? Again, you can't know this. The market massively gaps up, okay, and actually starts by creating this imbalance. Then it also created this hourly bullish imbalance above. That to me was my long signal. There it is. Break of that structure, retest here, imbalance, boom. Next liquidity target achieved. Next liquidity target achieved. And then we even kept rallying higher towards this sort of a hourly bearish imbalance that is also a reactionary. So an incredible week. So my community took a lot of trades on EU and GU. I don't trade right now Forex for a while because I'm testing something else. Anyway, right, so we are having a pretty nice bullish week on the dollar. Now again, it has been a pretty good question right now. Okay, is the dollar going to start reversing right now? So are we going to start having some bullishness? Well, Trump came in again and shook the markets on Friday. However, I kind of no, I didn't suspect anything because I have no idea what the market is going to do. But we had, for example, these 4 days of massive bullishness this week. Like we gapped up on Monday, pushed up, Tuesday pushed up, Wednesday pushed up, Thursday pushed up, right? We are starting to tap into some liquidity points to the left. And I was like, well, maybe Friday could give us some pullback. This is why I told my team in my morning analysis, like, don't rush to chase it today, okay? The market already did its thing. It already pushed, so don't expect that today is just going to continue pushing. And I thought we might have a little bit of a pullback. But yeah, this one was a pretty crazy drop right now. So DXY is going towards these daily bullish imbalances. And what I see right now on the hourly time frame is we had these hourly bullish ones that are currently failing. All right, so we actually had a tap both of them here. The first one failed, and then we tapped into the second one. So that was kind of the decision point in the morning. Are we gonna pop maybe to the previous daily high, or are we gonna invalidate it? And yeah, we ended up invalidating it. And then according to me right now, this whole push is supposedly weak, and the target is going to be that low, and that low is exactly where we have a daily bullish imbalance, and towards that low we have a hourly bearish. So to me the bias is looking kind of clean. Okay, I don't want to again forecast anything because I suspect we might open up again with a very big gap. Okay, because I don't know exactly when he announced these tariffs, because first he said something and then he actually imposed the tariff. So if the imposed tariffs happened after, because I read about it this morning, so if they happened after the market closure, then we're gonna have a big gap definitely. Okay, so be very careful. Now I would say to me a very nice low-hanging fruits are going to be these daily imbalances. So again, is the market going to potentially give us a little bit of a pullback and continue? Is it going to give us a deeper pullback into that hourly? That will be pretty lucky to get and continue. Okay, as for a bullish scenario, of course, we could potentially tap into that, react, invalidate, and then we're gonna start trending higher. Okay, because I always am going to give you two scenarios. Okay, so that is the bullish one, but yeah, I definitely do like the bearish ones as well. Really nice bearish here, potentially tapping into that daily imbalance below us. If it also forms, so keep this in mind, if it also forms a 1 hourly bearish here, so I can even pop it up. Okay, but that is really an outlook for like for a week that is already running. I cannot say right now, okay, on Monday open we're not gonna have a gap and we're gonna have a 1 hourly bearish imbalance to continue towards the daily. That is absolutely unrealistic. So this is my outlook on the DXY. I do believe we could potentially get a little bit of a pullback into these daily zones. All right, and then of course what happens from there? Are we going to start reversing? Are we going to start invalidating them? We don't know. This is what we're going to see as the week of course continues to develop. But this is my outlook for now, looking for a little bit of a short-term bearishness into these daily zones. So let's see how the rest of the pairs are looking like. Here is Euro USD. Not gonna lie, it was an amazing instrument to be traded this week. My community who trades a lot of EU, we trade mainly EU, GU, and UJ, and I am helping them pretty much pick the right one for them. So we have a lot of members who specialize in EU, we have a lot of members specialized in GU, and someone in UJ. But yeah, again, like we closed up the week extremely kind of choppy, chop, daily bearish, daily bullish, hourly bearish. Like who's gonna take control? We were really choppy at the closure. Like again, look. The market breaks very strongly below. We expose this liquidity target. Why did that change here? Probably the brokers changing their feed again. We expose that one, right? Then the market pulls back, hourly bearish imbalance, hourly OB here taps into it. Now here there was a little bit of a detail that it actually made a hourly bullish imbalance, okay? But we showed the bearishness. And then if you just go to the lower time frames here, Tuesday was an incredible day. Incredible day. 1 hourly bearish setups, 15-minute bearish setups. Then we had this hourly bearish setup as well. It was during Asia though, but then you could have traded it here in London, massive flush. And then on Wednesday I told my team, okay guys, it's time to step away a little bit because we took a very important liquidity point. Then the market pulled back a little bit. Was it a daily imbalance? No, it pulled back a little bit, took some liquidity here, okay, then it flushed again, and yeah, then pretty much we have these that massive reversal here on Friday. So an incredible week overall if you traded DXY related pairs. Now on EU right now, we're taking a pretty important liquidity point here. So that is a weekly. So we went from weekly liquidity here on top, and this top towards weekly liquidity again. So is that a sweep right now for the market to reverse higher, or are we going to push lower? Well, let's see. Dropping onto the daily time frame, what immediately makes an impression on me is that unlike the DXY, EU does not have a daily bearish imbalance. It does not, right? So that is a pretty big red flag for the shorts, because I don't have a zone right now to short. If I want to trade EU, I don't have a zone to short it from. Now, I can use the DXY and say, okay, if the DXY pulls back into these daily zones, I can look to also short EU, but not amazing. So what we see happening here, the very last thing is, so we have here the hourly, this is a hourly reaction area, and then we have a hourly bullish zone. Okay, so also a little bit 50-50. But I would say this here could be liquidity. And of course, that high is going to be the same low as this one here. Okay, if we link both of them. So how is it going to develop? Is it going to pull back into the hourly and attack the liquidity? Is it going to give us maybe a little bit of a pullback and then attack it? Is it going to straight attack it? Okay, Let's see, we already tapped into that reactionary here. You can see we already took the reaction. We already pulled back into a 1 hourly zone here. So that is already potentially working the longs, okay? However, with all these news that are going to get thrown out in the weekend, I really cannot make any forecast right now because the market can gap down there. It can, I don't know, it can gap already up there. And then all you have to do is just flow and wait for the market to stabilize a little bit. So that is your USD. Now, I really don't want to call longs in this recently really nice bearish market, honestly. Okay, it's like lower highs and lower lows are being created, so it looks pretty good. Now we took important liquidity, so right now again, if we are gonna see longs, I would just wait for the market to start trending higher, and then I'm gonna be taking these higher lows on the daily. For now, I'm gonna kind of keep remaining a little bit more on the short side because we're just absolutely heavily bearish in terms of market structure. Okay, so until we start invalidating like lower highs like that and really starting to trend higher, I'm gonna keep with the shorts. Okay, so currently we can have a short-term long into these liquidity targets, and then of course what happens afterwards? Are we going to reverse from lower here? Are we going to, I don't know, break above? We don't know. Okay, so low-hanging fruits, that high, and let's also give like a reverse scenario. Let's say that kind of gets invalidated, then of course we can target the low as well. But keep in mind, we might be opening with very big gaps, so be careful on Monday, and it's also a bank holiday. Looking at GU, also not a bad pair to be traded this week, although kind of developed a little bit choppily here at the open. So there is where we closed. Monday kind of introduced a little bit of a bearishness, but it swept that low. And then it popped higher and it swept that high. And you're like, okay, are we bearish? Are we bullish? Okay, but then it was only until here, until Tuesday into Wednesday pretty much, okay, that we actually came in to take out that liquidity. We created a volatile bearish imbalance, and then it was clear, okay, we're coming from a sweep, okay, invalidating that volatile bullish with a bearish one, and then from there it started rolling very nicely. Another volatile bearish here. Yeah, there were definitely some short setups, but just the opening, I think, on EU was a lot cleaner because EU opened, all right, EU opened, boom, bearish imbalance, let's go short. This one was like bearish first, bullish then, and then bearish, okay, so you had to wait a little bit more. So yeah, overall, the bearish scenario won over. Now, let's have a look at the weekly time frame, see what's going on. Oh yeah, this one is kind of still looking a little bit weaker. Now, we're taking very recently this weekly liquidity, so I can mark it up as a weekly. Below us, of course, we have, let's see, what do we have? We have nothing. All the way down there. Are we going to go all the way down there? Well, we're going to see. Now we're starting to print some, again, macro lower highs and lower lows. So high, lower high, lower high, lower lows are also being made. So that is kind of a shift towards bearish structure. Also, no bearish imbalances here. Like I see there is an extremely small one here. I'm not even gonna draw it because it's probably another broker, probably doesn't exist. Now this is tricky because the XY has these bullish imbalances and EU and GU do not have bearish ones. So very tricky. We're coming from a pretty big sweep here. And then, yeah, okay, so that is a tricky closure, especially with that Trump announcement here, creating these volatile bullish imbalances. So, yeah, we're having that bearish one tapped in and already did its job. And right now we're having a bullish one. So a potential liquidity target could be this for longs. But I wouldn't really like to call longs, everybody. Like, we have been super bearish. That to me still looks like a little bit of a profit taking on Friday, just to resume potentially going lower. So yeah, but no daily to work with. Yeah, we still have this order block though that the market is responding from. So guess what? This is a bullish scenario potentially towards the low-hanging fruits at the highs. However, if the market taps, right, reacts and breaks, then that is going to be the bearish scenario, which I would honestly prefer. Like, I like shorts on EU and GU because they have been short right now for a while. And I always like to stick with that very recent momentum instead of right now saying, okay, like first volatile bullish imbalance, we are going to rock it. No, it doesn't work like that. You can always go and like try to catch like tops. I don't know, like, okay, first bearish imbalance, let's go, it resumes. Like, okay, bearish imbalances, we're gonna go, it resumes. So until you clearly start seeing the structure starting to become bullish and like really seeing an overall uptrend, and then we start targeting like all of these highs, until then, let's just keep with the shorts until they're here. Okay, so that is GU, a relatively very simple analysis. Like, again, you're always gonna have one imbalance that is going to be your decisive point. In this case, it's this one. Is it going to hold and push the market higher? We're going to see. Is it going to fail? And if it fails, it's going to push the market lower. That's it. You just have to wait and see what's going to happen. It's as simple as that. And then, of course, you're gonna need to get to be there and to apply an entry model. Aussie dollar was extremely choppy up until pretty much the big news here. Like we had specific like breakout levels, but it didn't really break out below here. It didn't break out above here. It kind of introduced a little bit of bearishness here, actually tapped into that imbalance and drove us into the daily bullish imbalance. So that's kind of good. Maybe you take a short here on Tuesday towards the lows. Then it had a massive pop again, pulling back into these levels, and then it shorted with that bearish imbalance here, and then pretty much it was the news. A very big impact on Aussie dollar. Look at that crazy drop. We don't have such a crazy drop across the other pairs. But let's see, this one is coming from a very major liquidity sweep here. Now this is going to be the next weekly target, but I would look for something a little bit more recent. So we're having this daily zone that is currently being already taken. So daily here, and then we have this daily that is not taken yet, and then under that daily we have the weekly. So we have all the targets right now. Here is what I would do is I would wait for a daily bearish imbalance to form on Monday. Right, so wait for a daily bearish imbalance to form on Monday, and then potentially look to short it. Okay, it's as simple as that. In the meantime, of course, we have this massively crazy 4-hourly bearish. Yeah, so I think wasn't Aussie and NZD like commodity-based currencies? I don't remember, but maybe because these tariffs are again for commodities, for earth materials. Maybe that's why it's reacting crazily like that, because like on... Yeah, I mean, wait a second. EU and G are going up. These two things are massively going down. So yeah, this is definitely something with the currency, okay? You know, there are commodity-based currencies. There are different type of currencies. So here, I will have to say I'm bearish bias. I mean, we either pull back into that forward zone and potentially continue, or we consolidate, form that daily, tap into the daily, and then we potentially continue. Okay, so those are kind of my two potential scenarios here. It can definitely surprise us going long as well, but like, I mean, in a massively bearish market like that, you would definitely be looking for shorts. And as for longs, like you really need to see the market kind of start climbing higher towards that high. Okay, we really need to see a daily invalidation as well. With the daily invalidation, the market really has to open and massively rocket in order to cross this line. So I don't think that is very likely, although it can absolutely happen. So let's see. Okay, definitely bearish bias on Aussie dollar. I do see it trading it short two ways. Okay, either waiting for the daily bearish to form and short from there, or look to see if that fall is going to get pulled back into and then potentially continue. If we happen to right now take the daily liquidity below us here, then I'll definitely wait for a daily pullback. All right, so that is Aussie dollar looking pretty short, and I guess the news are impacting the Australian dollar very negatively. So I guess right now it could be a good time to go towards these commodity-based currencies. NZUSD actually played out pretty nicely. So what I have here is this daily reaction area that was the ultimate target, and what I have also is a weekly imbalance, and I see that I was a little bit more one-sided here. I either look for the market to tap into the weekly and then sell off, or just to continue selling off. And yeah, we actually ended up tapping into the weekly, tapped in. Wow, this is a nice setup, right? Taps into the weekly, fully bearish imbalances, absolutely what I call no struggle area, nothing to stop price, and just whoa, massively flushed. And then again, another fully bearish imbalance here, taps in, flushes, another one, flushes towards the daily reaction area that we have all the way up down there. Okay, nice. Very nice development here overall. Also here a daily, wow, this is too good, man. Also a daily bearish imbalance that got tapped right here. And then from that daily, you also got a hourly bearish that wow. That was a nice week on NZD dollar. Again, like this is why, again, sometimes you have to build a little bit of market awareness and like know which currencies are going to move when. Okay, so right now we can see with this type of deal right now, probably the big boys already knew that this could be happening, so they started like really moving down Aussie dollar and NZD dollar that are like commodity based currencies. So currently we're tapping into that daily reaction area. Daily bearish imbalance here could also form, although on Aussie dollar it looks a little bit cleaner. This one already formed and pulled back and retested it. Here again, we're just having beautiful bearish hourly market structure. We have this hourly bearish imbalance. I think yeah, we're tapping into that daily reaction area, which is pretty huge. This will be a very low hanging fruit setup. Okay, so this is definitely going to be a setup that I would love to take, for example, as the week is already going, as we had, for example, the introduction of volume, like flow imbalances after market open. They are amazing, okay, because that literally signifies to you the very first sign of who's taking control, because it takes like a 12 hours for a flow imbalance to form, okay, and if it forms, then you usually get a lot of clarity. However, right now getting into Monday, I don't know if the market's not gonna want to give a bigger reaction from that daily and then maybe get us to the liquidity. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I'm gonna say, okay, short setup from here. However, if the market would like to pull back a little bit more, wait for invalidation, wait to grab liquidity here, okay, and then from there maybe look for a realignment bearish, because that is the current sentiment for Aussie dollar and NZD dollar. Okay, so on Aussie dollar it was a little bit cleaner. We wait for a daily bearish imbalance. Here might be a little bit tricky because we can cross potentially what I call the invalidation line. So if that line gets crossed, we're not gonna have a daily imbalance. Let's see, we're tapping into that reaction area. Below us we have another small one here. Maybe I just mark it up as the next target. Let's see, pretty bearish, but we just made a massive daily lower low. Okay, and usually after daily low, you get a pretty big pullback. So this is why I'm expecting maybe a little bit of a pullback, at least some liquidity to be grabbed before we resume lower. Okay, so be careful shorting from that one. But if you get the setup, you can short. And if it invalidates, go take some liquidity. And then from there, again, look for the bearish alignment to potentially continue going lower. Okay, so that is my NZUSD outlook. All right, Mr. Goat, what a rally. Like my little tiny outlook here looks like absolutely ridiculous to what actually happened this week. So, I mean, yes, everybody, I was overall bullish bias. I just thought, okay, are we going to pull back? But then I'm pretty much sure I said we are very close to that liquidity. So I just think we take it the first thing that we open up the market. And yeah, the market opened just absolutely crazy rally. Now, I didn't take a goat trade all the way until, what was it, Thursday? I believe. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I broke it down, by the way. I broke it down. Yeah, it was Thursday. So make sure to check out my trading setups breakdown. I've been publishing one almost every day this week. I kind of think to do it, but I'm not really sure. Like they're getting like 1,000 views. So I'm not sure if it's valuable. I guess people are not interested in watching these. I don't know, right? But I'm probably going to do them more for myself. But anyway, right, there was a beautiful long hair that I took, then the market shorted, then the news came in and the market started recovering. But I couldn't capitalize on that bullish move here because all of these bullish moves, they happened during Asia. Like Monday, a massive Asia. Then here Tuesday was not bad, but I just didn't get a setup to get long. All right. Then Wednesday, absolute Asia again. I don't trade. I don't trade these kind of Asian sessions because then usually the next session is going to get consolidative, right? But then I did trade right here for that little move up and I take profit, and then the market just absolutely crazily dumped. Okay, so let us have a look. What is the state right now? Well, what is the state? We just keep creating weekly bullish imbalances. There is another one right now. Another one looking pretty clear. Are we going to pull back? I've got no idea. We just pulled back into daily bullish, so that is really good. Okay, so we pull back into that daily bullish, and again, everybody, like it's a chain effect. So if your flow fails, it's gonna go to the daily. Now, if the daily fails, it's gonna go to the weekly. But what we're seeing so far is that the daily is holding, especially after the news again. From come on, man. Especially after, wow, what the hell am I doing? 3G4H. Oh my god. There we go, finally. So we are actually failing that flow bearish imbalance. So we came in, reacted, we broke it, reacted, and then we're breaking it again. So to me, this exposes this liquidity point. Okay, so now we don't have anything on the hourly time frame, so it's going to be very important in such a case. Okay, so if you're an intraday trader, to go like to your 50-minute and to your 1 hourly time frame. Now, I wouldn't really do that on the weekly outlook because absolutely anything can happen on the market open. But we have this 1 hourly reaction area. So how I would imagine a potential setup is push, imbalance, liquidity. All right, so that is how I would imagine for it to potentially go. Let me do it on the hourly time frame. Pop, react, and go. This is my bullish scenario. Now, everybody, like, we don't have a lot of zones to work with. The only zone that we can work with, of course, is that daily. So if this daily is gonna hold, we can go to all-time highs because that is the liquidity of that daily zone. Hourly bearish has failed, which gives me a lot of bullish bias as well. We have pulled back to react from this overall order block here. We're reacting, and right now we're starting to break. So to me, all of these are bullish signs, okay? And if I want to give you even right now a bearish outlook, I mean, I don't know how it's gonna look like, because I don't have any zones. Like, for example, we have this liquidity level below us. So can we potentially start guiding lower towards that liquidity and then take out the daily liquidity here? And then afterwards, are we going to continue to the weekly or reverse? Like, it's way too complicated here, okay? So don't make it complicated. Don't try too hard, okay? That is how the market looks like right now. But guess what? If it opens and it starts flushing, I'm going to be the first one to short it if, of course, I'm given the setup, okay? I don't care where it's going to go. And I tried to explain this also in my breakdowns that I'm doing this week. So you can actually see I trade, because a lot of people say like, oh, you just draw these forecasts like you don't know where the market's gonna go. Okay, again, it's not about knowing where it's gonna go, it's about being there when it's happening and guiding you towards where it's gonna go, and then you just capitalizing on it. It's that simple, it's that easy. Okay, so yeah, that is gold right now. I mean, definitely could go bearish. Like, again, if the 1 hourly time frame start guiding lower, that is going to be your low hanging fruit. But then again, what is going to happen after that, I don't know. I'm more for the long side. I think with this sort of uncertainty right now from Trump, we are gonna see gold for another rally higher. Let's see. I mean, yeah, USD JPY, what a crazy thing here, right? So again, you never know what. I had all of these daily bearish imbalances. I thought, okay, is the market really gonna break them? Let's see how it's gonna respond to them. The market just opened up and it broke above absolutely everything. Okay, and then guess what, everybody? Guess what? Don't forecast, don't draw scenarios, don't do anything. Just wait for the market open, show up after a few hours, bingo, 4 hourly bullish imbalance, long it. That's all you need to do. All you need to do, right? That 4 hourly imbalance was above the liquidity, so it didn't sweep it and then turn back down again. All right, and then you just continue longing. That's it. Okay, now let's of course make a little bit of a forecast, because you all love that. Boom, boom. A lot of liquidity is taken right now, even probably something on the daily here. Yeah, I mean, we're tapping into some of these reaction areas. Anyway, we're having that gap. So this gap below is not amazing. And what we see here happening on Friday again is very sketchy, because we had that crazy, what seems like to me right now, a manipulation. And the crazier the move is, the higher the likelihood that it's actually gonna reverse. This is what I've spotted, okay? So yeah, we have all of these daily imbalances right now. We also have that gap that is going to be like a very juicy thing for price to fill, okay? Massive daily candle on Friday. I would ask if we're gonna have a daily bearish imbalance on Monday. If we have a daily bearish imbalance created on Monday and then getting into Tuesday, I think it could be interesting to start seeing some shorts towards like the gap and towards all of that crazy shit that happened this week on USD JPY. I hope some of you capitalize on that, because that's great. Yes, we're already, for example, breaking that first daily zone. We're tapping into the second one, and we have hourly bearish imbalance here. So a lot of bearish momentum is showing up on the news. Okay, it was kind of chop a little bit, and then the news came in and just whoop, started flushing. So is this going to sustain? That is the main question. It is not an extremely high probability market, because you're having a lot of these bullish imbalances right now. So I really need to see daily to form and to start seeing some lower highs. Okay, if I see lower highs to get created eventually, let's say Tuesday to Wednesday, I will potentially look to short if I was trading UJ, which I'm not, but a lot of my members are. So let's say this is my outlook on UJ. Okay, it's a very sketchy thing right now, because that to me also looks like a very nice heavy manipulation here. Once again, like look at, we have been on UJ in an overall kind of range for a while, right? One time we broke up, immediately back down. So right now it looks like, again, we just massively popped. But if we immediately start, so if we cross back below this level, all right, if we start crossing below this level, then that would mean we could potentially start seeking the opposing side of liquidity and get back into that consolidation. But if we hold right now from some of that daily imbalance, if we actually start popping higher, then I would say, okay, maybe the buyers are going to resume. But for now, I would say with that massive selling pressure, I don't want to argue against it, okay? But of course, let's say the market taps right now, taps forward, reacts, breaks, then of course we can continue going higher towards the highs here, okay? So again, What you have to do, once again, as usual, is you have to wait, because trading is a waiting game. It's not a forecasting game. It's not being smart. It's not being intelligent. It's literally waiting on your ass, right? And waiting for price to show you what it wants to go, and then being there and executing the trade without fear and managing it well. Then all that takes is just patience and discipline. Okay, so that is UJ. Interesting, very curious to see what's going to happen after that flush. Is it going to follow through? Just wait for the market to open and let the imbalances guide you. Let's see. Well, yeah, Euro JPY, I mean, moving with UJ, massively crazy gap up here. Absolutely crazy. And yeah, right now they're starting to pull back. I mean, this one swept some absolutely crazy liquidity here. That is some crazy liquidity. That is a monthly, that is a 6 month, that is probably a yearly high. No, that is the previous yearly high. Okay. So let me go back to what time frame? 1 week. Okay, massive gap up, nothing on the weekly apart from having a very crazy wick. And yes, then of course we have the gap here. Then we have again a, let's see, this is also, so this is gonna look a little bit crazy here. Yeah, I have to probably optimize it somehow. Too many imbalances, a very massive, again, bearish day. I would wonder, once again, very similar analysis to UJ. Okay, are we gonna have a daily bearish imbalance on Monday? It's flushing right now very nicely, tapping into that first daily imbalance. The hourly time frame has already shifted the order flow, so you can see hourly here, and then you can see follow through hourly here. It might form another hourly market open. So let's see. I mean, a very low hanging fruit potentially could be the gap open. Okay, so I want to delete the zone here. It's looking way too crazy, but I'm just gonna keep them for now. Yes, I mean, if it continues to guide us towards that gap, that would be great. I think with that bearishness, we potentially go lower, okay? And then of course, if it comes in and validates and then it starts going higher, we're gonna go higher. Again, that's it. But I believe that we could potentially go towards that gap, because that is a crazy gap. And looking at that very recent bearish move here, I think all of these pairs could potentially go and fill that gap if that weakness on USD JPY persists. So it's going to be very important for you to monitor USD JPY and to just monitor the hourly time frame. Is the hourly time frame going to continue making lower highs and lower lows, and hourly bearish imbalance is great? Short it. Okay, it is a pretty good no sugar area as well. Like, currently we're tapping into that daily, that can give a little bit of a reaction, but if we form a daily bearish, I think it could be very interesting. So that is EJ, and probably GJ is going to be the same. So yeah, GJ, the same, massively crazy gap up, massive rejection on the weekly, daily time frame again, all of these gaps and imbalances here. How relevant are they? I mean, this should be drawn like this, I guess. Okay, that first one is already failing. So that first daily bullish imbalance is failed based on my rules. Okay. There is the gap open, so then we go to the hourly time frame. The market printed a hourly bearish imbalance here, but it didn't print another one similar to not similar to UJ printed, EJ printed. This one not. This one is right now tapping into that daily imbalance. The first target is going to be under this low, and then the second target is going to be this low. Now again, here what I'm going to be looking for is to see if a daily imbalance is going to form, which is very likely, judging by that Friday candle. And then yeah, basically if we have continuations lower, you trade towards the gap. If the daily bullish imbalance forms, you pull back and again you trade towards the gap. If everything fails, you trade towards the highs, because if we trade towards the highs, there's nothing to stop it. Like, that is filled, we just have some liquidity points. So yeah, that is GJ. Again, very similar, extremely similar to the other one. Like, how do you decide which one to pick? That's your decision. I always suggest my traders pick either EU or GU. So I would suggest you also pick either EJ or GJ if you like to trade these JPY pairs. But that is GJ. I'm more sell bias on all these USD JPY pairs, traveling towards the gap open. All right. We are getting a pretty nice dip right now. So thanks to Trump, I'm going to be buying some more stocks, because from all-time highs right now, we are 4%, exactly 4% almost. That is a pretty big dip. That is a very nice, that by the way is a pretty huge, if you think about it, everybody, right? You can be investing and doing your best. Like, for example, from here, the market spent, what is it, 34 days. 34 days, and then it just destroys all that progress within 2 days. All right, So absolutely crazy, but I had a really nice week on futures. You can check out all of my breakdowns as well. I'm gonna leave a link somewhere to the playlist. Make sure to check it out. Now we're pulling back into that weekly bullish imbalance right now, which is very interesting. So that can potentially give some sort of a reaction. But I mean, after this Friday candle, the market will need to stabilize a little bit. So we are very likely going to have right now a daily bearish imbalance. So that is the first thing that I'm going to be looking for. Okay. But overall, you should be aware that any drop like that is just profit taking manipulation. Potentially. Okay, so for example, here we also had that drop, okay, but then chop, 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 and then we ended up having a bigger crash, okay. Sometimes they are gonna go a little bit deeper, right? So here we had a 10% drop, here we had again a 6% drop, here we had a 4% drop, here we had a pretty, I mean, that is the tariff crash, so yeah, anyway. But it tends to do these things, like there we go, here for example, it sold off again 3.8%, okay, and then it just resumed. So just because right now we have this crazy drop, don't say okay, we're gonna short, we're gonna go to hell, right? No, you can of course look into okay, what kind of targets we can take. So we're tapping into the weekly, that is a first target, and then under the daily we have this, and then we have this as well. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to say right now. So we have this absolutely crazy hourly bearish imbalance. We closed extremely bearish. So what can I say, everybody? I can't say anything. So 4-hourly bearish, 1-hourly bearish, everything is just bearish right now. I'm going to be looking for a daily bearish imbalance to form, by the way, and then see what's going to happen. And if you check out my trade breakdowns on ES from this week, you're absolutely going to see that I don't do like a lot. I always do my top down analysis, but I don't rely on it. All I do is I just show up at the session open and I trade. I hesitated on a short trade after the release. There was a beautiful pullback somewhere around here for yeah, this one, a beautiful short trade, but I hesitated because yeah, some crazy shit was happening. I was like, well, what if this turns into a wick right now? So I did not engage. But let's see, everybody, if that is going to continue dropping a little bit towards some lower liquidity targets. Let's see if we're gonna go to that ultimate lows here for around 6% drop. That would be nice. I'm gonna fund my portfolio and start looking to buy some stocks. So let's see. Nasdaq pretty much the same. So here we had a daily bullish imbalance tap. So the longs were really nice. We have that hourly what I call SDS. The market failed it and then immediately went for the liquidity, and then it kept pushing higher. Definitely not a bad week for NAS. And then like, whoa, that should be a bigger drop. Yeah, that is a 5% drop almost. Okay, pulling back into weekly imbalance, that is definitely not bad. Finally, we pulled back to offer some fair value because we have been absolutely extended. And I currently see again a lot, JP Morgan CEO crashes incoming, the market is inflated, the market is in a bubble, blah, 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 right? So these are really good things because it's going to cause a lot of people to hesitate, a lot of people to really start overthinking, and the market, I believe it can just resume going higher. It always happens. So right now we're having this absolutely crazy day that engulfs again how many days, right? So I don't see, but anyway, massive drop. I'm going to be looking to see if we're going to get a daily bearish imbalance, which we're very likely going to do, right? Usually after like a crazy drop, you're going to get some daily imbalance, but then that is eventually going to fail and the market is going to resume going higher. Absolutely crazy, bombastic hourly bearish imbalance here. So, I mean, how can I make a forecast here, everybody? Like, nobody has any idea what is going to happen. Like, you can say, okay, it's going to reverse from that weekly. Could be. I don't know, and I don't care because it's not my job right now to say where the market's gonna go, right? If that daily bearish imbalance forms, if it comes in and fails, I'm gonna look for all-time highs. If that daily bearish imbalance forms and it holds, I'm gonna look to target lows. If the market continues, I'm going to continue lower. If the market reverses, I'm going to reverse with it, okay? Because I flow with the market. So that is the state right now. Extremely interesting. I'm really curious to see how that is going to develop. I'm going to be monitoring the news, but I will for sure look to buy some companies that are at a very good price. And even I can buy some S&P index because that 4% drop should always be bought. So let's see, everybody. Let's see. And yes, YM-US30 being the choppy pair that it is, it just consolidated all week until pretty much the news release. Like, yeah, this instrument is very, very, very strange. At first, when I started with futures, I was also monitoring it. I was looking to trade it. I'm very happy that I did not follow through with that. Weekly liquidity here, massive drop again. That is a very clear liquidity point that we can definitely be looking to target. Again, same thing here. We can be looking for a daily bearish imbalance, definitely. Hourly bearish imbalance as well can form. So again, is it going to continue towards the liquidity? Great, it definitely could. It's very close. I think it can. And then, of course, what is going to happen afterwards? Again, everybody, we don't know. When the market is absolutely crazy volatile like that, there is really no sense in trying to make forecasts and trying to guess where it's gonna go. Just show up on Monday, let it stabilize a little bit, even wait for Monday to pass because it's a bank holiday. Then let's see Tuesday, let's see Wednesday, and then probably by Thursday you might actually take a trade if you just wait for it. Okay, so yeah, US 30 looking, they all pretty much look the same. So what is going to happen, I don't know, but one thing is for sure, I'm gonna buy some stocks. All right, so I see DAX played out beautifully. So we had that bullish introduction here. I told you like so many times, like wait for the market to show that it wants to go higher and then you're gonna long it, okay? It showed us right here, breaks of structure, higher low starting to stack up, massive rally, daily bullish imbalances. Here, we pulled back into them, bingo, all-time highs. And right now, of course, with the rest of the markets, it is starting to pull back a little bit. We're having a weekly bullish imbalance here on DAX. That is very interesting. However, that weekly imbalance is coming after a massive sweep of all-time highs. And with the news that are right now incoming, be careful. Be careful. Daily bullish imbalance absolutely failed because of the news. We're about to tap into that weekly bullish, and also there is a nested daily bullish here. So a lot of support. However, it's very likely going to form a daily bearish again, just like on everything else, a daily bearish on Monday. And then you have to be fighting against this. So yeah, hourly bearish as well. That is how the market looks like, especially the indices market. So here, it is going to take a lot of time and a lot of days to really see how it's going to pan out, right? It's going to tap, react, break. Is going to tap, boom, 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 and then give you the shorts. The short is just going to break. Is it going to just explode? We don't know, okay? So we have like too many zones right now. Daily bearish is forming, hourly bearish, daily bullish, and weekly bullish. So I would say, of course, I'm more long side. However, right now we have a lot of fundamental factors that are going to potentially drive the market. Okay, so be careful with that. So DAX looking pretty good, actually, a very nice long opportunity here. I mean, it kind of chopped up. So Monday chopped up, Tuesday chops up, and then Wednesday actually started making the move. So if you were there to capitalize on that long, great job. But as for next week on the indices, we gotta be careful and give it a couple of days to stabilize and see where it wants to go. All right, a little bit of a recap. So yeah, after the news on Friday, it is pretty uncertain where the market's gonna go. I am looking for a very brief pullback on the DXY towards these daily bullish imbalances, which means a very big brief bullish pullback on EU into some liquidity levels. So you can long it into that liquidity, or you can of course flow with the markets and wait for that forward to fail for it to continue with the overall direction. I would prefer to be short on EU and GU. Okay, because they have been short right now for a while in terms of the macro market structure, so I wouldn't like to go against that. So I'm short bias on these things. Aussie dollar and NZ dollar are absolutely shorting as well because they're a commodity based currency, and they can potentially continue going lower. On gold, I'm definitely bullish because being again a safe haven currency right now with the uncertainty that keeps on going and with the new news from Trump, I think we can hit all-time highs this week probably. The only thing to stop price is right now a 1 hourly zone, so we can definitely hit it very fast. The JPY pairs are all showing a lot of bearishness as well at the news release after a massive gap, after a absolutely ridiculous run this week. Okay, so we can be looking to trade towards that gap, although I think that is going to be a risky thing to do. It is definitely something that you can be looking for if the quality time frame and the daily start forming bearish imbalances. And indices also, they're having an absolutely crazy drop right now. After such things, it's not a great idea to be immediately looking to trade, because the market is going to need a little bit of time to stabilize, to kind of figure out what is going to happen. Or of course it can just open up and it just can continue flushing, because when there is a lot of fear and there is a lot of uncertainty, the market just tends to drop like crazy. Money could exit the indices, it can go to gold, so gold potentially could be good to be trading right now. So let's see, but all the indices are looking like the same, so massive drop. So I'm going to be very careful evaluating what is going to be happening this week, and of course flowing with the markets as usual. Make sure to check out my recent trade breakdowns, everybody. Make sure to subscribe. Let me know what kind of setups you took this week. Did you have a profitable week or not? I think it was a pretty good week, very volatile across the whole board, so hope you had a good week. Let me know what are your thoughts for the next one, and I'm gonna talk to you in the next outlook.